I'm not a hole for asking my sister to stop wearing revealing clothes around my fiance. I'm not a hole for kicking out my sister in law after her daughter ate my wife's pregnancy snacks. My sister, 31, recently went through a divorce, so I, 22, allowed her to stay at my apartment until she got back on her feet. My sister, let's call her Mia, usually wear modest clothing, but every time my fiance comes around, she changes up her clothes into way more revealing ones. I mean, she doesn't even try to be subtle and will change if my fiance comes around unexpectedly, even if it's in the middle of the day, from clothes that are more modest into clothes that are revealing. My fiance started noticing it as well, and it makes him uncomfortable. He told me on many different occasions that Mia will do stuff like dwarf something on purpose and pick it up backside facing my fiance or eat banana very seductively while looking my fiance in the eyes. I thought he was joking at first, but I witnessed it with my very own eyes. I mean, I understand she's going through a hard time after her divorce or whatnot, but this is honestly ridiculous. So I sat Mia down and explained to her that her actions are making me and my fiance uncomfortable, and I'd appreciate if she'd stop. And I listed all the weird things she's been doing. She was extremely offended by it and claimed that I am sexist and that she should be able to wear what she pleases when she pleases. Went on Facebook and made a post about our discussion, claiming that I'm overly jealous, sexist, and insecure and can't handle being around a big girl. My mom thinks that I should allow her to continue dressing like that in front of my fiance because she thinks Mia is under a lot of stress. I feel like she's being inappropriate, and I feel as if she's being disrespectful. I've been trying my best to help her through her separation with her husband. I allowed into my house and I allowed her to have my niece and nephew over the weekends and even watch my niece and nephew when needed. I don't understand what I have done for her to act in such disrespect towards me. Am I a hole for asking my sister to cover up more in front of my husband?
NTA. She is being incredibly disrespectful of you and your husband, and it's frankly creepy and embarrassing for her. Your house, your rules. You've told her her behavior makes you both uncomfortable and is inappropriate. She needs to stop or leave. Period. Doesn't matter how much stress she is under. Your mother can host her if she feels differently. Or if that was just how she always dressed. Like, if all her tops were revealing and fiancé happens to turn up and she's wearing something revealing, well okay, then I could see sister's argument, but this is specific and targeted behavior, which is disrespectful and rude. She is actively going to her room and changing into revealing clothing, and then behaving inappropriately in a way that makes both her sister and her sister's fiancé uncomfortable. OP haven't got a problem with the clothes, it sounds like OP has a problem with the behavior. The changing of the clothes is bad. But I think, if that's all sister did, then it's something you just roll your eyes at and go, this kid. Assuming important bits are covered. Should she do it? No, but what she wears is her choice. Even if it's kinda sad and obvious. She crossed the line with her behavior, not her dress. Leave out the changing of the clothes, her behavior is still bad. Which is why that's what you focus on. Especially given the obvious solution to the clothing issue is for the sister to just be scantily dressed all the time, so she's no longer changing. Yes, her choice, but if she never wears them then changes into them specifically when OP fiancé is around and it makes OP and OPS fiancé uncomfortable, then it's no longer about her choice. She's staying in OP's apartment, so since it's making the owner of the roof over her head uncomfortable, then she needs to stop. If she doesn't like it, get out and get your own place, and you can dress however you feel. Until then you kinda gotta respect OPS requests. I would disagree with this if she wasn't behaving the way she is. She can wear what she wants to, and she may feel more comfortable around men or people she finds attractive wearing specific clothing. It may make her feel less vulnerable, less of mess, or sexy and attractive, and all of that is okay. But she is then specifically acting a certain way with her sister's fiancé, making him uncomfortable. Not cool. Exactly this, OP. She makes advances toward your SO, reasoning behind it mostly irrelevant. She is probably doing it by low self-esteem caused by divorce. In worst case, she wanted to make you as miserable as she is. Doubt she has any feelings for him. In any case, this behavior is no. She either put herself together, or she goes, and LC/NC is in order. Give her that choice and follow through.
Second story, I'm on a hole for kicking out my sister-in-law after her daughter ate my wife's pregnancy snacks. My wife is on her first and last pregnancy. She's in her early 20s but has had holes in her uterus in the past and miscarried previously. This one is super high risk, and the doctor visits have been frequent and stressful. After this, my wife will be getting sterilized and I'll be getting a vasectomy. She's currently 7 months pregnant, and all she's been craving is plain grilled ground beef soaked in garlic powder, red crushed pepper, and sriracha, and peanut caramel marzipan. As a person who wants to smell it and kiss her, I prefer to spoil her with a marzipan, and it's much quicker for her to be able to eat. I'm doing my best to spoil her because this is her first and only full term pregnancy she'll be able to experience. I bought some marzipan candies for her and placed them in her cubby in the pantry where she keeps her maternal vitamins, anti-nausea pills, and snacks. My wife's sister came to visit with her daughter for 2 weeks this Sunday, and we welcomed them to the pantry but asked that if they not touch anything in the cubbies because those are specifically for us. I went out to run errands the other day and came home to my wife on a couch holding her stomach and crying. I assumed the worst and asked what's wrong, and she told me that Niece had eaten up all her marzipan, and there was no ground beef, and it's all she wanted, and everything else smelled disgusting. I asked my sister in law about it, and she said it was just candy, and my wife shouldn't be eating so much sugar during her pregnancy, anyways, and that she can't expect a kid not want candy. I asked her to replace it, and she said no, and that I could buy it since it was so precious. I told her to leave the next morning, and she ground and grunted around about how bad I'm treating family around the house till she left. My wife's family is calling me and asks for kicking them out over something so silly, and that I could have just bought more. It all feels so silly, but I'm beginning to doubt myself here.
I would be asking your wife's family, why do you hate my wife? Why is Silkid more important than my wife? Do you want to ever meet her child? And then have your wife block everyone who hasn't been 100% supportive, so you can still record their terrible takes that make it clear and in writing they don't deserve a place in your wife. Yes, this is a nuclear option, so only do so if you and your wife agree about it, but Sil deliberately sabotaged you guys with her actions and with her words. Unless she gives an actual apology, that should include marzipan candies, that she doesn't steal again, she is banned from the house, as is anyone who supports her. Hell, she might even be jealous if she has been the only daughter with a child and wants to add stress to your wife in hopes to keep that status quo. It's your situation, but I would not let this go, and be clear with family that you and your wife will not tolerate bad behavior. There is a possibility they have no idea about the trauma. Most people do not talk about early-term miscarriages. There is a chance they think this is her first pregnancy, and she is being obsessive about what she wants to eat. I still think it is fine to be like, look, we said don't eat what's in this pantry, and you did anyways, so out you go, because they aren't accepting clear boundaries as house guests, and won't even replenish them. But they also might not get why this is such a big deal to the couple. It's absolutely possible that family didn't know, even as close as sister. especially if previous miscarriages were after short pregnancy. Many people don't say they are pregnant until later months, and big reason for that is not having to talk about that hurtful experience when something bad happens. Edit as a reply to comment below, /justafixed. I'm just disagreeing with comment above which claimed that people 100% know about miscarriages of their sisters. In many cases they don't. I absolutely don't defend stealing snacks. Sister had a rule that she didn't follow. She was given an option to fix this which she refused. Kicking them out was IMO justified. My sisters don't know about my miscarriages. I will never tell them because I cannot trust them with that information. It will be used to hurt me. So I chose to withhold it even once I could speak on it. It took years for me to tell anyone. The casual cruelty of her sister who would shame a pregnant woman and ignore boundaries makes me question if the wife would in fact disclose this. It is hard to be vulnerable when you know it will just bring more pain. I am glad you have experiences that didn't bring to mind distrust. Not sarcasm but sincere note for text tone. It's just not all of us do. OPNTA pregnancy or not, this is clearly a boundary being stomped and a consequence. What would come next? More of that. You obviously has good taste in partners and I hope you both have a healthy baby and easy labor. Good observation. What got me was the apology. The F she gives her kid all her candy then insults her. I'm curious if the daughter is a Verucas all type kid and mom can't say no. There were so many things Sil could have done. Gone to the store and replaced it. If transportation is an issue, give Op a heads up and ask him to buy more, on her of course. But she was told specifically not to take any of the pregnancy snacks and then refused to apologize. NTA, good for you for standing up for your wife. I can't understand so many puce guest AITA. Sure, your kid wanted whatever at some inhospitable time. First thing I would do is say, oh so sorry. My kid got into your candy, where how can I replace it immediately ? I'm a fucking guest, not my house, not my family. It's my responsibility to be gracious as a guest, thanking those who took care of me away from home, my duty to repay whatever kindnesses I can.